Welcome back to Maths in an Empty Classroom with me, Mr. Southern. This is part 5 of the lesson on arithmetic sequences, and in this video I'll be looking at a word problem modelling example. Okay. So here we go. So I'm given that the weights of plums collected by a farmer over a period of n weeks forms an arithmetic sequence. He collects 20 kilograms in week 1, 22 kilograms in week 2, 24 kilograms in week 3, etc, etc. So straight away I can see that this is an arithmetic sequence because the terms in the sequence are going up by the same each time. They're going up by 2. So before I even look at what the question is asking me to do, straight away I can write down that A, the first term, is 20, and that D, the common difference, is 2. And that is going to be useful information to me as I work through this problem. Now part A is asking me for the weight of plums collected by the farmer in the 11th week. Now the key question that you have to ask yourself when you're dealing with these word problems is, am I looking for a term or am I looking for a sum? And there's certain key words that can help you identify that. In this case, the key word is the word in. In that specific week, we're looking for one specific term, not the total. So it's a term, it's the 11th term. So in the 11th week means that we are looking for the 11th term. Straight away you should be saying to me, right, 11th term, that's A plus 10D, because I always have one less difference than the number in my sequence. So the 11th term will be A plus 10D. You can write U11 if you wish for the 11th term. I've already identified that A is 20 and that D is 2. So 20 plus 10 lots of 2, the common difference. So my 11th term I can see is 40 kilograms. Part A. Now part B is asking for the total weight of all the plums collected by the farmer in the first, up to and including the 11th week. Now the key word in part B, identifying whether we're looking for a sum or a term, is total. That key word total tells you that we're looking for a sum, and we're looking for the sum to 11 terms. So we're going to be using that formula, sum to n equals n over 2, 2a plus n minus 1 d. Because we're looking for the sum to 11 terms, n is 11, so I'm going to replace n with 11. 2a, well we know that a is 20, that's the first term, plus n minus 1. Now, so if n is 11, n minus 1 is 10. So 10 lots of d, the common difference, which is 2. So what I'm going to have here is I'm going to have 11 over 2 multiplied by 2 times 20 is 40. 10 times 2 is 20. So that is multiplied by 60. So that is going to give me a total of 330 kilograms collected in the first 11 weeks. I'll just clear that so I can do part C. I don't need any of that information apart from the fact that A is 20 and that D is 2 to do part C. So, part C is saying that the season lasts for n weeks. So we don't know n, we don't know the number of terms in the sequence. And it says during the season the farmer collects a total weight of 780 kilograms. So from that I can write down that the sum to n equals 780, the sum to n terms for a value of n that I'm trying to find out. And it says form an equation and show that it can be written as n squared plus 19n minus 780 equals 0. So that there is my target that I'm aiming for in this question. Now, sum to n, I'm going to be using my sum to n formula again. So let's write that down. Sum to n equals n over 2 times by 2a plus n minus 1 d. So let's think about what I know. Well, I don't know n, so I can put n over 2. But I do know that a is 20, so I can replace the a in the equation with 20. Again, I don't know what n is, so n minus 1 has to remain in that bracket, but I know that the common difference here, d, is 2. And I know that the sum to n terms is 780, so I can write that this equals 780. Right, let's tidy this up a little bit. N over 2, leave that as it is. 2 times 20 is 40. And now here, n minus 1 times by 2, that's just like having the 2 at the front of the bracket and expanding it out. So plus 2n minus 2 equals 780. And now I'm just going to simplify what I have inside this bracket. And you'll notice that at the moment I am not doing anything with the n over 2. So in this bracket I would have 2n, and 40 take 2 is 38, so it would be plus 38 equals 780. Okay, you've got two choices here. You could either expand the bracket out by n over 2, or you could multiply both sides of the equation by 2 and then only have to expand out the bracket by n. Now, multiplying n over 2 by 2n is actually quite nice because the 2's are going to cancel. So if I expand that out, I will just have n squared. And if I do n over 2 times by 38, it's like doing a half n. So a half of 38 is 19. So plus 19n equals 780. This is beginning to look reassuring. Here's my target that I'm aiming for. So all I need to do as my final step is to subtract 780 from both sides of the equation to give me n squared plus 19n minus 780 equals 0. So quadratic equation that I've formed in n. N is the unknown, and what I'm going to move on to do in part D is to solve that equation to find n as a number. So factorising, I need two numbers that multiply to 780 with a difference of 19. Obviously that's 39 and 20. So n plus 39, n minus 20 equals 0. You could use your calculator to solve this quadratic at this point. I have two solutions. N equals negative 39 and n equals 20. And now I need to consider which of these solutions I'm going to go with, which one is valid for the model that I'm using. Now, because n represents the number of terms, n cannot possibly be negative 39. You cannot have minus 39 terms. So this is an invalid solution. It's one of my favourite phrases. We've solved the equation, but it doesn't solve the model. However, this value here, n equals 20, n must be a positive integer because it represents a number of terms, and therefore n equals 20 is the solution to the equation. It is 20 terms, so 20 weeks to get to a sum of 780 kilograms, which was part D. Right, finally part E, find the total weight of plums that the farmer would collect if the season lasted for 31 weeks. That is just a case of doing the sum to 31 terms using this formula here, which by now we're happy with this. So 31 over 2, 2 lots of A, which is still 20, plus n minus 1, so if n is 31, then n minus 1 is 30, times by 2. So I've got 31 over 2 times by, and in my bracket I've got 40 plus 60, which is 100, which gives me the rather beautiful 1,550 kilograms, which is a lot of plums. Thanks for your company.